Hi, I'm Shannon Rollins with Shannon Rollins Real Estate. Are you in retirement and considering building your final forever home? If you are in retirement and considering building your forever final home, I've got 3 things for you to consider. The first is, are you and your spouse, if you're married, in good enough health to go through the entire building process? The process can take a year. Finding the right lot, finding the right builder that will build the home for the cost that you can afford, finding the right floor plan, making all those selections that goes into building a new home. It can take a lot of energy, and you need to be sure you're really up for the job. I had somebody call me once and say, Shannon, will you help us find a lot to build a house? And I'm like, absolutely. So I met them for the first time in a neighborhood to show them lots. Husband jumps out of the car, and then wife gets out pulling behind her an oxygen tank. She was in poor health. So we talked about lots, and finally I had to say, are you really sure this is right for you guys? And they were so thankful that I brought that up, because husband was really wanting to build, wife it didn't make sense for, and once we talked about it, they agreed that really wasn't the right thing, and they found a wonderful home that they didn't have to go through the building process for. Another thing you need to know when you're building a custom home is, in general, there's this thing called sunk costs. Building a custom home is all about making it custom and making it exactly what you want. Sometimes that creates areas where you do something so unique to your personal preference that you don't recover that expense later down the road. And depending on how soon you sell the home, it might be more of an issue if it's sooner than later. I got a couple examples. I had somebody call, say, Shannon, we need to sell this house. We built it 5 years ago. Unfortunately, they were getting a divorce. So I went over to take a tour of it. We walked into the owner's suite, and there it was. This big, huge, red, heart-shaped jacuzzi tub. I was like, wow. And so was everybody else that came to look at the house to buy it. It was way too personalized for everybody else that came in as well. And so it took just the right buyer that was willing to gut the owner's suite bathroom of a house that was only 5 years old. So that was an example of a sunk cost. Another client built in Woodside, and they had a bonus room over the garage. You know, the kind when you go up the stairs, you have to take a left and go up the second flight of stairs to get the bonus room. While the builder was building the house, he had the builder build in there a custom platform arrangement for an enormous train set to do a whole city up in the bonus room. It took up the entire room. It was done while the house was being built, so that wasn't a problem, but now getting that out of there was a problem. So that was, again, a sunk cost. But really, sunk costs can come in just small things like preferences of tiles. Things change over time, what people like. And so if it's 20 years until you sell, there probably is going to be some sunk costs because preferences are different now. The third thing you might want to consider if you're building your final home is, do you need a retirement income stream? I had a client that had a $150,000 ranch house that was, brick house. She lived in most of her adult life. It needed remodeled, and she didn't want to go through the modeling process and living through that. So we sold the house. She took that $150,000 and built a duplex. So she lived on one side, had a $150,000 mortgage on this $300,000 house that she, put $150 down, and then she rented out the other side for more than what her mortgage payment was. So she had an income stream. That was a great idea. If you're thinking about building your final home in retirement and want to talk about if it makes sense for you or how we might be able to help you, give me a call. My team and I are on standby 7 days a week, ready to help you take the smoother road to sold.